How do you find yourself? Who am I? What am I? What should I do? These are questions I have dwelled on. I am yet young and prone to this sort of introspection. They are self-centered questions, and they are dead ends, or worse, an endless void. When uncertain and indecisive, I have found that contemplating an ideal, day by day, decision by decision, works better than self-contemplation. I still fail, but it's harder to pretend I haven't. I am still learning, but I am more able to stand straight. To guide you through this line of thinking, here are someone else's words.
Thoughts that pertain to yourself, self-conscious thoughts, are very tightly associated with the experience of negative emotion. So it's literally the case that when you're thinking about yourself, you're unhappy. So what's the antidote to that? You might say, well, stop thinking about yourself, but you can't just stop thinking about yourself. If you try, you just think about yourself more. We should be thinking about others almost all the time.
Self-conscious thinking leads to unhappiness. It's cyclical. I have experienced this. Constant self-regard returns you to the starting point. The only response to the question, who am I, is the same question. Who am I? It is to be a snake eating its own tail. You have no end that isn't the same beginning. Years ago, probably writing, I remember visualizing people as mirrors looking into mirrors. We are perpetually reflecting one another, and there is no alternative. The question becomes, where did the first reflection come from? Where did the light we are reflecting come from? Maybe you see how existential this line of thought becomes. You inevitably try to reground yourself in what you thought would be an easy question. Who am I? Or when you really try to break yourself down, what is it that makes me up? I remember looking back at my boy self and wondering if I had thought him up as well. The spiral has felt inescapable, even with the advice to think and act for others. This is partly because connection to others can be so difficult. In my case, frequent and distant travel has made it so I have rarely stayed long enough to act with and for other people. This doesn't mean that thinking of others, exo-consciousness, is not the answer. It's just an answer I have been unable to grasp. Let's listen to another clip.
Self-consciousness is literally indistinguishable from negative emotion. So if you do factor analysis of the words that people use to describe themselves, including emotional words, all the concepts associated with self-consciousness load on exactly the same dimension as anxiety and pain and frustration and shame. So to be self-conscious literally is to suffer. Many philosophical commentators have noticed that we wouldn't give up our capacity for self-consciousness, right? Because it's also something that sets us apart from the brute animals. But to transcend that self-consciousness does put you in a state where the eternal speaks. You can tell you're at the place the eternal speaks when you're not self-conscious.
Conan the Cimmerian of barbarian fame has re-emerged in my consciousness these past few months. I used to read the Sword of Conan comics, the ones in vibrant color illustrations, in my teens, quite transfixed. I picked up a tome of Robert Howard's collected works of Conan some years later, and I recently ordered some selected works of Howard's, Conan and other characters of his. Conan stands tall in my thoughts of late. A few months ago, unsure of where the narrow path to my destiny was, and sinking into the introspection I described earlier, I tried to match myself to figures of mythical, heroic archetypes. those that echoed in my thoughts. One that rose to the surface above all the others, and I decided to manifest into my daily life, came as a question. I challenged myself to, in moments of indecision, of moments of doubt or weakness, to ask of myself, does this bring forth the conqueror? This mythical manifestation was not fully formed in my mind. It was an amalgam of boyish aspiration and adult ambition. But it does not surprise me that now, a few weeks later, Conan has stepped into that shape. To come back to Peterson's illusion, I think Conan is what it looks like to be in a place where the eternal speaks. To illustrate this, I'll show you one last clip. It depicts an exchange between Conan and the pirate queen Belit, found in one of Howard's works. Searching for yourself leads to depression. Accepting yourself and your inheritance, acknowledging your present and living is contentment. I think you'll see what I mean.
What of your own gods? I have never heard you call on them.
The chief is Crom. He dwells on a great mountain. What use to call on him? Little he cares if men live or die. Better to be silent than to call his attention to you. He will send you dooms, not fortune. He is grim and loveless, but at birth he breathes power to strive and slay into a man's soul. What else shall men ask of the gods?
But what of the worlds beyond the river of death?
There is no hope here or hereafter in the cult of my people. In this world men struggle and suffer vainly, finding pleasure only in the bright madness of battle, dying their souls into a grey, misty realm of clouds and icy winds, to wander cheerlessly throughout eternity.
Life, bad as it is better than such a destiny. What do you believe, Conan?
I have known many gods. He who denies them is as blind as he who trusts them too deeply. I seek not beyond death. It may be the blackness of air by the Numidian skeptics, or Crom's realm of ice and cloud, or the snowy plains and vaulted hall of the Norheimers' Valhalla. I know not, nor do I care. Let me live deep while I live. Let me know the rich juices of red meat and stinging wine on my palate, the harsh embrace of right arms, the mad exultation of battle when the blue blades flame and crimson, and I am content. Let teachers and priests and philosophers brood over questions of reality and illusion. I know this. If life is illusion, then I am no less an illusion, and being thus, the illusion is real to me. I live, I burn with life, I love, I slay, and am content.